Take a few breaths, and calm yourself down instead of getting angry at the guy in the front of you. So it's just an awesome tool. One of the things that people don't really connect is breathing in cancer. That's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
You were talking about the diseases. In the 1930s, a man named Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize for determining that cancer will not grow in a cell that's well oxygenated.
Wow, really? Wow.
That its oxygen starvation is the primary cause of cancer. I mean, there are a host of secondary causes, and we all know those.
Right.
Yeah.
You name it.
Yeah.
Okay. But that the primary reason why a cell stops functioning normally and healthily is because the cell itself is not respirating or bringing in oxygen at the cellular level and dispelling its toxins through carbon and the carbon dioxide at the cellular level. So it's like every cell needs to breathe. And if the cell loses its ability to breathe and respirate, it will mutate and lose all of its functions and become a cancer cell.
So when we're taking vitamins or minerals or chemicals to try to oxygenate ourselves, we could also be breathing.
Yeah.
It's really it's the number one way you're supposed to be oxygenating, but it's what the
And
lungs.
it's free.
It's free and it's right under your nose, and and it's the number one thing that your heart and lungs are doing supposedly to keep you alive, and we all know that. It's just we forget.
Now, you are going to be doing a workshop in Helena the weekend of October 4th and 5th at the NEU Fair.
That's right.
Right, and so we'll talk a little bit about what that workshop might look like, but for those of you who might remember, you've probably attended the NEU Fair. That's once a year in Helena, and they bring in a lot of different body workers and energy workers and all types of, I guess,
holistic
healing.
health practitioners.
Yeah, and it's the Nature Energy Universe celebration, and that is Saturday, October 4th and Sunday, October 5th, although there is a free kickoff workshop or lecture on Friday evening, October 3rd, right?
Correct.
And so you are going to be presenting your workshops when?
I have a free 1-hour introduction on Saturday evening,
Okay.
4 o'clock, free to everybody, come on down. And then for someone who really wants to get into this, we're doing a 4-hour workshop for $40 from noon to 4 on Sunday.
Okay. And what would that look like, a little bit of a breathwork session? Or, I mean, describe to us a little bit what you do in case anybody out there is wondering what it would be like.
Okay, well,
Prepare them a little.
In the 4 hours, we basically spend the first half examining the breath, fixing and improving and optimizing the breath. We take some measurements. We do some exercises that we're going to increase the rib motion, get the diaphragm kicking in more. So it's almost like we're priming the pump, all right, and getting it working the way it should be working. Then we do a 1-hour breathing session. We get pillows and blankets and lie down on the floor, and we kick in the breathing in a little more of an expanded way than what you're used to. Now, you think of aerobics, and that's a lot of heavy breathing while you're running or doing the treadmill, right? Now, imagine aerobics of breathing without the running or without the treadmill, where basically the breath is kicking in at a much bigger, more expanded way. Where's all that good energy, good oxygen, and good detoxing going to go? It's going to go right into the cells and into the organs, and it's going to fully oxygenate the body and the blood the way it hasn't been done before. So that is a marvelous experience. People can tingle all over. They can have transcendental experiences. They can basically renew themselves on the physical level or the emotional level or the mental level, clear their mind, get really peaceful and calm. By the end of the session, those are basically the words that people use the most. It's just calm, peaceful, happy, and with a quiet mind. You're talking about going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Main reason why people can't sleep at night is they've got to quiet that mind down and get out of this agitated state. And breathing is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to follow up on. You have a book, Heal Yourself with Breath, Light, Sound, and Water, which I'm sure you'll make available to folks, but I was going to read some of the other words people had said after a session: radiant, deeper, fuller, grounded, I feel like myself again, profound. So that's good stuff.
It's all good stuff. And those are actual words of people who have taken the breathing seminar and done the breathwork session. And it's awesome work. I'm very glad to be doing it and bringing it to the people in Montana. I've done it for 30 years. I've done it in Montana 5 or 6 years now, and I think I'm one of the few breathwork practitioners, certainly with this angle on it, in the state. So,
And some of us might know breath work from the 70s, or even some of us still do it in a more, how do we say, raucous atmosphere. Yours is designed to be gentle and inviting for folks who maybe haven't done this before.
Yeah, we try to create an environment, and that's why I take a 4-hour seminar to gear up to what could be maybe 20 minutes of pretty intense breathing. We really surround it with the right combination of information, exercises, understanding the body and the anatomy and the physiology, measuring and getting people excited about having a real powerful experience and creating a safe, predictable, gentle experience for people. But still, people have amazing experiences with it.
Cool.
Yeah, but we've talked a little bit about breath work before, and I know you're a big proponent of breath work.
I am. I've had some of the most interesting healing experiences I've had through breath work, so I'm excited that you're going to be here. That's great.
Yeah, it's marvelous work, and it's one of my life works, and another is publishing my magazine. In case anybody wanted to plug that.
Well, you have seen this all over town. I'm sure you pick it up on a routine basis. Natural Life News and Directory, and it's free all over Helena and all over Montana. And it's the Holistic and Healthy Living Guide to the West. Different practitioners and
great
services
articles.
and products and articles.
Yep.
Yeah. And so this is the man behind that. In case you picked that up a time or two and wondered, gee, where does that come from? This is the man who started that and publishes that. So. Great. And of course in here is an ad for the NEU fair. You've probably seen flyers that kind of look like this. I know we can't really get a shot of that right now, but around town. And I want to make sure folks know about that, the Nature, Energy, and Universe celebration, which is October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it takes place out at the Red Lion Colonial Hotel, same place as last year. And let's just mention a few of the folks besides Dennis, who will be there. Dr. Bruce Nelson from Big Fork is speaking on Saturday evening, and he does, and I heard him last year, and he's a chiropractor, but he takes care of, gets to the root, the cause of all disease is what he calls his talk. And a gentleman who looks very interesting, Charles Lightwalker, who is from Spokane, and I'm not familiar with him, but he is a medical intuitive. He talks about shamanic healing. He has some Native American roots, and I don't know if you're familiar with him or want to add anything more.
He does a lot with sound, and he's going to experiment a lot with sound, which is actually in my book too, using the vibration of sound and to actually penetrate the DNA and the cells. There's been science that sound itself will penetrate and shift the DNA in the body. And, you know, whether it's mantras like ohms or various sounds or vocal sounds or even singing bowls or vibrational sounds coming from different things that can enter the body. And, of course, the yogis have been doing that stuff for centuries. So it's just finally getting around to the West, and the least of which is Montana.
So Charles Lightwalker says he's the director of the Family of Light Healing Center in Spokane, and he will be speaking Sunday, October 5th at 2 o'clock. And then all day long, really, you can go in and visit the different booths, and there are short talks by people that are free, and then some of the keynotes, of course, there's a slight fee for. But there is also Judy Cook, who's going to talk about goal setting and kind of the same ideas that a lot of us have heard in the movie The Secret. You might be familiar with that. So Judy is going to talk about that. And gosh, there's just a lot of, so many things, but some of them I found interesting. Some of the guests that we've had on the Woo Crew will be there, or certainly some of the topics we visited. Understanding your past lives, sound healing, as you mentioned, angels with Lorna McMurray, who has been here. Yep, she's going to be speaking. Energy dowsing, and I don't think we've talked about that on the show directly, but feng shui, yep, and of course different naturopathic practitioners, and just all kinds of fun, interesting things.
Massage, free massage, or for a donation or a tip. All kinds of. Over 30 booths. It's a great fair.
Numerology.
Lots to listen to.
And all kinds of things. This looks interesting. Dr. Miller's Holy Tea Club. Talking about tea for detoxifying the body. And so anyway,
I've
lots
had that
of great
tea.
things.
It's good stuff.
All right. So again, that is that'll be coming up this weekend. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and you can find more information at that at www.neurohealth.com. neucelebration.com, so you can look at a schedule of events. And we are out of time. He'll be back with us next week, so thank you all for joining us.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you again.
Thanks for
Here's
being
to
here.
woo.
Here's to woo.